The silence in the enormous mansion felt heavier than usual when the calls began. I was 8,000 miles away, standing on white cliffs with blue rooftops and golden light pouring over Santorini like honey on glass. My first vacation in 3 years. My first mistake was believing peace would wait for me. My mother's voice sounded cheerful, as if delivering good news. Darling, we already fixed everything. The house has been sold. The house they sold had never been in my name. When we were children, Mom kept 2 things on top of the refrigerator, a jar for rainy days and an invisible marker. The jar was for Valeria. The marker was for me. If Valeria brought home good grades, Mom clapped as if it were a miracle. If I brought home perfect scores, Mom simply said, "That's what we expect." Dad would nod, as if strong performance needed no celebration. When I got my driver's license, I drove Valeria everywhere. SAT prep, manicure appointments, parties where I waited in the car drinking cheap soda while she danced under someone else's lights. If I asked for gas money, Dad said, "Invest in yourself." If Valeria wanted a new phone, Mom said, "She needs to feel connected." That's how it started. Small debts of love that became currency. Everything good I earned turned into silence to keep their lifeboats afloat. Mom would say, "You're older now, you understand responsibility." What she really meant was, "You can handle being used, even as an adult." The pattern never changed. If Valeria overspent, I was the sensible one who fixed it. If I said no, I was cold. If I hesitated, I was ungrateful. Love was a math problem that never balanced. One night after transferring money again, I looked in the mirror and whispered, "Maybe if I disappear, they'll finally learn to stand on their own." They didn't. They learned to lean harder. They called it family. I called it a contract I never signed. I started working in real estate at 21. The kind of job people confuse with glamour, open houses, soft lighting, cookies on trays. But behind every key handed over there were contracts, panic, and endless paperwork. I didn't mind. The structure made sense. Contracts stayed loyal when people didn't. Almost every night I sat in my car after a showing, half-eaten granola bar on the dashboard, staring at the warm glow of houses I would never live in. Every window looked like peace behind glass. That was what I wanted. Something stable, something mine. At 30 I had saved enough for a down payment. Instead of buying in my own name, I built protection, a small LLC, Blue Key Holdings, $300 to register, a wall of paper between me and chaos. I learned to read fine print the way others read faces. Every clause, every date, every name became a line between freedom and regret. Blue Key Holdings rented out the property under a master lease. Clean title, permits in order, quiet street. I paid deposits, managed reservations, filed taxes, everything boring, everything safe. When rent arrived each month, a calm settled where worry used to live. It wasn't just a house. It was proof I could build something no one could take away. Some nights I stayed late at the office coloring calendars until my eyes burned. Emails came, phones rang, but I stayed focused. My life fit perfectly inside folders. Predictable, deliberate, mine. Other nights I walked barefoot through every room, lights low, palm pressed against cool walls, counting windows like others count blessings. The air smelled of lemon cleaner and new beginnings. I whispered, "This one is for me." Outside, garden lights hummed in the dark. Small golden orbs on a wire. The neighborhood breathed. A dog barked. A car door closed. Silence again. For a moment I thought I had outrun the noise. But peace doesn't last long when your family believes you owe them. Valeria's messages went from emojis to requests. Then demands. Then silence. The kind of silence that always comes before the storm. I started making double backups. Locking documents. Setting account alerts. Not out of fear. Out of discipline. Not paranoia. Preparation learned the hard way. I told myself I was ready for anything. The family went first when the jar was full. The family went first when the bill had my name on it. "How did you sell it?" I asked. "Without your signature," Mom said, exhaling like I had missed the point. "It's your house. Everyone knows that. Everyone is not public record. Everyone is not the operating agreement." "Who is the buyer?" "Some guy paying cash," Mom answered efficiently. "He's handling the back taxes." There were no back taxes. That's the line they always use. I hung up, bought the first flight, packed to the rhythm of my heartbeat. At the airport I opened the documents again. Blue Key Holdings master lease and recorded option to purchase. Registered owner, Blue Key Holdings LLC. Never me personally. I emailed my paralegal. Subject, Affidavit of fraud. Prepare immediately. Block any attempt to record. The red eye landed in a grey morning. I drove straight to the property. A moving truck blocked the driveway. Mom in her church sandals, hands on hips, directing strangers like a foreman. Dad hovered, pockets full of excuses. A man in a golf polo photographed the mantle. He didn't know who I was. Valeria leaned against the doorframe in a sweatshirt that said blessed. My mother sold my house to pay my sister's $200,000 debt. When I walked in, they laughed. They said, now you're on the street. I only smiled. Hello, I'm Elena Vargas, 32, real estate agent who plans everything except this. That was the part they couldn't stand. Because calm means control. Because silence means I'm already 2 steps ahead. Hello, traveler. Mom smiled with amusement. Rough landing. I stepped inside. The house smelled of Windex and damp drywall. They had open windows that were not theirs. Living room, now, I said. My voice surprised me. Flat, firm, already decided. We sat. Except Dad. He remained standing as if gratitude were owed. The buyer kept checking his phone. Mom adjusted her company smile. We made a difficult decision, darling, but we saved you. I placed my folder on the table, lifted the first page, then another. I spread the silence like evidence between us. This property, I said, belongs to Blue Key Holdings, not to Elena Vargas. Your deed is a napkin with ink. The buyer stopped looking at his phone. Valeria rolled her eyes at the paperwork. Dad inhaled like gathering thunder. I kept my hands still. Calm means control. Silence means I'm ahead. He didn't buy a house. He bought a lawsuit with a receipt. I kept the folder closed. One more breath. I let them speak first. Mom began with certainty. We saved your credit, Elena. I opened the folder. Page 1, master lease. Page 2, recorded option to purchase. Page 3, notice of interest. This is Blue Key property, I said. The title is clean and not in my personal name. Your deed attempts to sell something you do not own. The buyer looked down, then up. How do we undo this? He asked. Quickly, I said, before you cloud the title. Call your attorney, and check your errors and omissions insurance. Dad stepped in. Watch your tone with your mother. 3 things have already happened, I said. 1. Affidavit of fraud filed. 2. Cease and desist letter sent. 3. Public records alerted. Valeria scoffed at the papers. God, you love rules. Rules are what keep houses houses. I answered. Mom's smile turned glassy. Are you overreacting? Darling, we only acted fast for the family. For Valeria. I corrected her. For her $214,000. Silence. Then the buyer cleared his throat. I'll wire the money back today, he said. My lawyer recommends it. Good, I replied. Do it today. Send confirmation to this address. I slid a card across the table. Dad's voice dropped to gravel. Ungrateful daughter. Why? I asked. For paying surcharges and emergencies. For being the silent solution. I turned to Valeria. You've already paid your balances. Not your business, she snapped. It becomes my business when the funds are traceable to fraud and can be clawed back. You might want an attorney. Her face showed calculation. I placed a preservation notice on the table. Keep records, messages, statements. Do not delete. Do not lose phones. Mom's voice sharpened. You wouldn't do this to family. I'm not doing anything, I said. I'm refusing to accept what you did to me. I choose clean ground. The buyer left dialing. The movers followed. I stood up. This is the boundary, I said. No more accounts in my name. No more handwritten signatures from you. No more emergencies paid with my piece. Dad pointed at the door. Leave if you can't be loyal. Loyalty is not theft, I said. Loyalty has matching signatures. Valeria grabbed her keys, furious. Mom reached for an embrace that wasn't mine. I stepped back, firm as a plumb line. I will respond to real emergencies, I said. Illness, safety, that's all. Everything else, write it down and mail it. I walked to the threshold. The house felt like itself again. Faint lemon, light on the floors. I closed the door they had left ajar. I didn't slam it. I made it answer to my key. No charges were filed. It wasn't mercy. It was silence. The wire returned. The recording was marked. Alarm emails stopped. Option exercised. Title perfected. Paperwork squared. Finally the dream arrived. Furniture came slowly. A chair. A lamp. A promise of nothing I had to apologize for. Later at sunset, string lights wove gold through the garden. Breath found space between my ribs. Articles of forgiveness arrived from Mom. I didn't reply. The new rules fit in 3 lines. Love remains. It is not financed. Call only for real emergencies. Dad kept his tariffs, deadlines, terms. I answered like any client. Meanwhile, Valeria reinvented herself in responsibility. A shredded card on camera. Progress. Maybe the boundaries didn't harden me. They clarified me. They let truth breathe across the floors. Some nights, barefoot on cool wood, warm coffee in hand, the house humming beneath me. I remember the girl who carried everyone home. She studied contracts because promises kept breaking. She learned that doors can honor the one who holds the key. There is another way to care. Tell the truth early. Keep what you build. Pay your own bills first. Help only from surplus, never from oxygen. Thank you for listening to today's story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. See you in the next story.